Hi, this is Joe from Top Tier Capital. Well, today we had the Dow and just down 20 points. It wasn't really an exciting day at all, but there were a few points when we had some upswings and downswings throughout the day. So there was some activity, but not very much. I want to point your attention to this first chart. It's the YM. It's the Dow futures, if you're not familiar with what YM means. And I've drawn a few indicators on here. This top indicator is the pivot points. This red line is support 1, and this gray dotted line is pivots, the actual pivot point. And down here is RSI, and below that is stochastics. So now we open up the day, and we went straight down. And the first thing we hit was that support 1 line, and that proved to be support. And I love pivot points. A lot of the time, pivot points are a very good indicator, like for support and resistance. The market tends to congest around those, and I use those a lot in my trading. So we hit this line, we went into oversold territory on both these indicators, and we kind of popped off. And then we came back down again. We didn't hit oversold on these indicators down here, but we knew we were in a previous support level because this S1 is here. We popped up off of that. We didn't quite hit the pivot point up here, so it was kind of a very boring day. We kind of just flopped around here. We hit oversold right there again. Nothing really noteworthy there though, it's just kind of sideways. And then at the end of the day, we kind of pop up, and then we run into that pivot point, and we come off of it a little bit. So it kind of becomes its resistance again. So we're in this range between these two lines, the pivot point line and the support 1 line, all throughout the day. We hit overbought right here at the end of the day on both indicators, kind of off from each other. But that's pretty much all that happened today in the YM. Not very exciting. But let's move on to the Russell. Same kind of situation with the Russell 2000. This is the Russell futures. Same kind of chart. I don't have the stochastics on here, but I added the VWAP. So we've got RSI, pivot points, and VWAP. But you can see right off the open of trading, we crush through the pivot point line and we go all the way down. We're kind of just in the middle here. But when we finally do break below the support 1 line, we get oversold to the extreme here. We were oversold back here, but when we get oversold again, that's usually a big indicator for us being massively oversold, and that's a good time to pop the market. It usually works out. So that's what happened. We congested around the support 1 line kind of for a while there, and then we popped up, and sure enough, we hit that pivot point, and then guess what? We came right back down, hit the support 1 line. We didn't really use the VWAP too much today until the very end of the day, until we went right back up, hit that pivot point line, and then the VWAP comes into play. For the rest of the day, we kind of see this VWAP, being our resistance on the top. We have the pivot point VWAP, and it's all kind of congesting. At the end of the day, we push higher off that pivot point, and then we end at the VWAP. So really good VWAP day, really good pivot point day. I think it was a great pivot point day for the Russell. So there was some movement today. not much, but some stuff did happen. So let's move to let's just move to Apple. Apple's kind of been the story lately. It's the stock to follow. It's been moving the markets all by itself, so we have to pay attention to it as well. So Apple has been in this downtrend channel, and now today you can see we hit this very important resistance line. Now the point here is we did not close above the channel. In fact, the channel itself proved to be very strong resistance. We weren't able to break out. As soon as we hit it, we hit lower prices. So we are below the channel. So we have to be very careful moving forward. But still proving to be resistance. If we can break out above it, then prices are going to move much higher, I think. But if we don't, and we're hitting all this congestion area again, and it could be slow and ugly for a while, but we'll have to see. One up day and we're out of it, one down day and we're still in it. So it's that important. We're at that moment now with Apple. So we'll have to stay tuned to that one. That one could be interesting coming soon here. That's the Apple. Let's move on to the Nasdaq really fast here. We previously broke out of this sideways trend channel, which was great. And because that was one boring channel to be in for a month and a half. But we finally broke out, and today we just kind of kept where we were. I think we could see higher Nasdaq prices moving forward because of that precipitous breakout we had on Friday. So that's the Nasdaq. Let's move straight to oil. The interesting story with oil here was it was also in that same kind of uptrend that all the other markets have been in, and it was in this trend channel. and it broke out, definitively broke out. This is the close on Friday. So oil was out of that channel, and I still think oil prices are going to be lower. But the interesting part here is when you have this kind of uptrend, you want to use the uptrend as your future resistance level, and that's exactly what happened. Oil popped today, and it ran right into that resistance level and closed right there. Couldn't break it, couldn't really do much with it, but it stayed right there. So we have to see here. Now this would be an important point moving forward to see what can happen with oil. If oil can break back into the channel, then we got to assume no more downward pressure. But for now, prices in oil, we got to assume are going to go lower because we are no longer in that uptrend. This is usually a good entry point for a short, but for me, I'm not going to take it. Now, I actually think oil could lead the markets here. If oil goes higher, I think we could see the overall market turn up. And if oil turns lower, I think the market could turn down with it. So anyway, that's our analysis for today. Be sure to check us out at toptiercapital.com. We have a lot of updates throughout the week on the markets, and we'll keep making videos daily for you, so check back here for updates there. And happy trading and good luck out there.